All right, so let's get into what happened here today. So in case you guys don't know the guy we're going to be talking about today is SlyKane. He is a kick streamer. We'll pull up his current look right now. So this is how he currently looks right now. He has changed his hair color because he is trying to hide out. So here he is. Now he is now in Taiwan. So he is hiding out. He fled from the Philippines to Taiwan. This is SlyKane, Christopher P. Dantes. He was the cameraman for Vitaly. He knew what he was doing when he was doing it. He said we committed a bunch of crimes verbally. So he had knowledge that crimes were broken. He then proceeded to hang out in the Philippines countryside and then ran away to Taiwan. So now this is him in Taiwan. That's why it's the thumbnail, that photo on the thumbnail. He's changing his hair color to try to confuse people, wearing a hat. Really interesting strategies here. Now, the thing is, before this, when I previously covered this, some people were trying to debate and saying, well, he's not really wanted. He's not really wanted. There might be an investigation, but he's not really wanted. And one thing on this channel that I am very specific about is legal definitions. There is investigation, there is maybe wanted for questioning, and there is charged. Like this person has been charged with a crime, and then beyond that, there's a warrant which you can issue for someone's arrest. So there's all these terms and they mean something. So if the police are just looking for someone, they might not necessarily be yet charged with a crime. They might just want to talk to that person. Now, originally, we had heard from Ramula, from Secretary Ramula, who was really been spot on about the Vitaly case and was the point person on the Vitaly case, that they were looking for all the accomplices of Vitaly. And they made a clear statement they were looking for them. However, today, and we're gonna play the video, and thank God there's a automatic translation of this, but he is officially a wanted man, and there's proof in the pudding that he's a wanted man. Like this isn't me debating this, or this is me this is me stating a fact which we now have from the office of the president. Let's get to the video that pretty much confirms all this. So this is a video with the PCO Undersecretary Clara Castro. So this is from the presidential office. So this is not this is a palace press briefing, as they call it. This is a official briefing. So this is not me saying this. This is not me making this up. This is not me, coming up with some theory. These are all the official statements and words of the undersecretary. Right? So let's just go here. This is the relevant part of the press briefing.
Medyo release na po ng kaunti. Just recently, nagkaroon ng statement si Pangulong Marcos tungkol doon sa Russian-American vlogger na si Vitaly. Any update doon sa nagsisilbing videographer niya, since ang sinasabi din naman ng mga otoridad, meron ding liability yung kanyang videographer. Any update na po tungkol doon?
Tama po kayo,
So,
hindi po nagustuhan.
first of all, let me just say, awesome question by that reporter, really quick, to clarify this, because this needed to be officially clarified with more specificity. So it's very important that they came in and were specific and asked a very specific question. So W, Philippines reporter, for asking the right question and being specific, right? Specific.
Tuhan ng Pangulo ang ginawa ng ito na isang Russian vlogger dito pa sa bansa at dito sa ating mga kababayan. Kaya nagkaroon din po, ngayon po ay humaharap sa kaso itong Russian vlogger ng mga kasong unjust vexation, alarms and scandal, theft, and attempted theft. Pero para po dito sa sinasabing videographer or cameraman po, nakasama po ni Vitaly ngayon po ay nasampahan po siya, ayon po sa PNP, nasampahan na po siya ng kaso. Itong si Christopher Dantes, alias SlyKane.
Okay, so there we go. and it's SlyKane. I think she says Skylane, but it's SlyKane. But she says his name. So there can be no confusion, right? There can be zero confusion. And she's being very specific about what's happening here. So saying this person specifically, once again, this is coming from the presidential office, right? Not me. It's coming from the presidential office saying we're charging this guy, right? So let me rewind it just a little bit here because I want to have that repeated a little bit. Okay? So this is a very important part here.
Maharap sa kaso itong Russian blogger ng mga kasong unjust vexation,
Vitaly is
scandal,
charged.
theft, and attempted theft. Pero para po dito sa sinasabing videographer or cameraman po, nakasama po ni Vitaly ngayon po, inasampahan po siya, ayon po sa PNP, nasampo.
So, see those words right there. Now, he has been charged. There's what I was looking for. These are the words, right? Now, he has been charged. Those are very specific words. You don't say those words unless there's a criminal charge. So right now, it is criminal charge, right? It is, he's got criminal charges against him. He's a wanted man, right? Bingo. I don't need to say anything. They said it, right? It's right here. So everybody, and there was so much cope from SlyKane saying, oh, I got nothing against me. Argue with the presidential office. Call the presidential office and argue with them if you want to argue with this. You know, he was talking a whole lot of smack, saying he was going to sue me for defamation. He was going to come after me. But who's the one who's facing criminal penalties right now, buddy? Yeah, that's you. That's you, right? That's you. Let's continue here.
Nasampahan na po siya ng kaso. Itong si Christopher Dantes, alias Skylane. Nasampahan po siya ng kasong unjust vexation.
So first charge, he is charged with unjust vexation. That's the same charge Vitaly has. So he's charged with in an equal capacity to Vitaly in unjust vexation.
In relation to RA 10175 and RA 995 at saka.
So I'm going to pull up those two statutes, RA 10175 and RA 995. So I'm going to pull those up in a second once this finishes, but I want to let this finish first. But just so you know, those are also criminal statutes. So those are two more criminal statutes that he has been hit with.
Po Anti-Photo and Video Voyeurism Act. Yan po ang latest po mula sa PNP.
Just to give us an idea, Yusek, ano po ba yung pwedeng maging kaparusahan doon sa mga kasong naisampa dito kay Christopher?
Sa aking pagkakaalam, unjust vexation malamang po ay mga 30 days na imprisonment or fine. Tignan na lang po natin kung gaano ba ang magiging lalim ng mga ebidensya para malaman din natin at matetermina kung anong klaseng parusa kung sila naman po ay magiging makukonsidered na liable or guilty.
So since nasampahan na siya ng kaso, Yusek, anytime pwede na lumabas yung arrest warrant?
Hindi pa po, kasasampa pa lang po ng
kasasampa
kaso.
pa lang.
Bibigyan po. Okay, tayo po. Sa administrasyon po ni Pangulong Marcos, ang lahat po ay binibigyan ng karapatang magdepensa. For them to exercise the right to due process. Hindi po ito babalewalain ng pamahalaan, lalong-lalo na po sa pamumuno ni Pangulong Marcos. Importante po ang due process sa mga Pilipino.
Okay, so that's a question right there. So, okay, yeah, he still gets due process, is what it's saying. Like, he doesn't waive his rights to good process. By the way, Philippines press is super well-mannered. I want to say, someone said in the chat, like, the press is very well-behaved. Compared to, like, American press, which is a mess, they're, like, yelling and screaming and shouting and they're rude. Like, Philippines press is, like, very organized. I actually really appreciate that. Versus the chaos, the zoo of the American, presidential press room. And that's under any administration. It's just always a mess in America. But anyways, of course, and I will say this too, everybody deserves due process. That's fine. And he is granted due process, which means he gets to go to court and plead his case. But to be honest, I don't think he has much of a case because the problem with these nuisance streamers is they record themselves. So all of the evidence is right there in front of the judge, the jury, whoever is looking at the case. So there's not much to argue with because it's all on camera. It's all on camera. So what are you going to argue with? But, hey, you're allowed the right. You can try. If you want to argue, argue. All right. Let's continue with this. So he got charged under these Republic Acts, and I want to bring these up real quick here. This is kind of the legal side of it, right? So here's the two things that were brought up that he was charged under. That is the Republic Act defining cybercrime, providing for the prevention, investigation, suppression, and imposition of penalties. That is Republic Act 10175, right? So you go down here, it talks about Cybercrime Convention. So one of them is a Cybercrime Act, and I think that's appropriate because, of course, there were indeed cybercrimes that were committed here with this. So I think that's an appropriate that's an appropriate anchor. Now, I know they talked about strengthening their cybercrime law, but if they're willing to pursue it, that means they feel they have enough evidence to charge them under the cybercrime statute. The other statute, which is interesting, is RA 9995. And this one appears to be a statute, once again, this is reading the title, defining and penalizing the crime of photo and video voyeurism and prescribing the penalties thereof and for other purposes. So this would appear the Anti-Photo and Video Voyeurism Act of 2009. So in the world of law, any law that came out in the last 20 years is new. So this is a new law. So it probably takes into account the fact that video and photos can be transmitted over the internet, right? And it even has the word internet in it, so it knows the internet exists. Like a lot of the older laws are pre-internet, so they've got that in it. So talking about taking photos without people's consent, transmitting them. And, in this case, what really can be layered on and what a lot of countries can add to these statutes and acts is they can add a line that says if they are doing this and profiting off of it. So if they're doing this plus making money, then it should be even worse of a crime. I'm in support of that. Now, this statute doesn't appear to have that, but I would be in full support of making money off of photo and video, making the crime worse, because that will really help in deterring nuisance streamers. So that is the second one as well. And then I believe unjust vexation, he was also charged with as a third. That I don't think that's a specific statute. At least she didn't give a statute. She just put that in common law. Now, even if it's 30 days, I think that's great. But the other thing would be he's got to wait for trial. And if he's got a similar wait for trial as Vitaly, well, that's kind of a thing, isn't it?